Hi, Ishmael. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today to talk a little bit about this lovely neighborhood in Cupertino that you've been a resident of for many, many years. Why don't you take a minute and tell me a little bit about how you came to discover this neighborhood and what made you purchase your first home here?
Thank you. 1985, I believe, I had a couple of properties in Sunnyvale, and I did do a little study, see is that the best area that I should be, extend my investment or look around within the budget that I could afford. I compared Cupertino, this part of the Cupertino, which that time used to be Rancho in Coronado, unincorporated, and then I noticed that a rate of appreciation in this area is like 0.2 or 0.3 higher than the others, Santa Clara, Sunnyvale, in that area. So I say, well, this is right area, and also I wanted to this side of like a 280 toward hills, toward mountains, like being away from that traffic and the crowd part of El Camino and 101. So I find this is perfect area. Then I looked at it for school systems, and I noticed that it is good. So my first investment I made at bought this house in Morengo Drive, 10720 Morengo Drive. That house, after I looked at almost 12 homes, I picked it up, and that was nice. So I got that first one, and 125. And
So that was in 85, you say?
85, yes.
So $125,000.
125,000.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Then after that, I said, well, I want to extend my investment in this area. Second one, I bought, it was on Culbertson, and that was like Culbertson Drive, and that was like, I believe, 104.
Oh,
that's yeah. That's
great,
the,
okay.
Yeah, so anyway, my plan was to get half a dozen in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
I could bike, I could walk, and as a rental investment.
Okay.
And then I did go up to third one, and I got a little tired, and I said, well, let's take a little break. As you know, this was like my side hobby, side job
Sure.
on the weekends, not this was just along my full-time job I was doing. So I enjoyed, and nice neighborhood. After I've fixed up the Culbertson one, I rented out Morengo, moved to Culbertson as an owner-occupied. Then third one, I got the one at Toggle. So when they were, this area was changing to the city of Cupertino from county, we got some kind of letter that it is a deadline, that if you want to build a home, or if you want to do, this is a deadline, you could submit the drawings or permit to county. After that, you have to deal with Cupertino.
Okay, so let's take a minute. I think there are a lot of people that might not understand what that means. So basically what it meant at what size home you could build on your specific land. Is that correct?
Yes.
What's the difference?
County was much more easier than city of Cupertino. That setbacks was not much limited as the city of Cupertino is. Like in that almost 6,000 plus square foot of lot size, we put almost 3,500 square foot home. Under county, you could do that, but under city of Cupertino, as you know, it's like maximum 45% of the property size. So we got the drawings, and we submitted to county, and we built that home. The nice contractor who was in this neighborhood. So that was pretty good project. So I moved there, and
So now the house,
lived
so the house that you built was quite large, right? And
Yes.
it had five bedrooms. Is that correct?
5 bedrooms, 4 full baths, and 3,500 plus, including garage, almost 4,000 square feet. That was a nice
And you
home.
did put a bedroom and bathroom with a full bathroom downstairs, right?
Downstairs as a guest, yes, full bedroom and full bath, yes.
And then so you ended up at that point then renting out 2 houses in the neighborhood and then living at the one on Tuggle.
Yes, rented off the previous homes and moved back to that new home that my daughter liked it. And so we said, okay, we moved to that, yeah.
And so how would you see the appreciation then from the time you started? When did you started to build in 97, 98?
The Toggle? Toggle, well, yes, I believe. Yes, 98. We started construction 98, yes.
So from the time that you bought that first house at a little over 124,000, I guess.
Yes.
How was that price point of similar homes selling at the time you started to build?
Those smaller homes? Smaller homes, but yes, they were going up, and prices were going up pretty good. And I believe within a couple years moved to like 200, another couple years 300. Those homes, like one reason that I didn't go to half a dozen, that was my plan. One reason was personal, another one was that prices was going up and I couldn't afford. That time,
Yeah,
100
100,000,
something,
right?
and I
Yeah.
could afford
Pretty
it.
good
But
deal.
yes. When they went up to 400, 500, then I stopped, yeah.
And then I met you when I was selling a home on Calvert Drive. You were out for your walk.
Correct.
And you came to visit me several times. And by that time, the neighborhood had changed. It had hit a lull. And then there was another building wave again.
Yes.
And then, so that was in 2008
Right.
that I met you
Right.
there. And at that point, were you thinking about selling your house or just something in just...
As you know, not to being nosy, but whenever I pass by any home, some activity going on, I looked. I was used to wonder that what's going on, open house or new construction. So I noticed that while that home is built in, and I see your car and you coming and going, and then I thought, this must be like arranged. The builders contract, somebody building a custom home, building and selling. So I stopped by and I talked to you and your open house, and I say, yeah, it's right. So I used to see you during construction, and then when I came to your open house and we talked, then I said, well, I was guessing right. So you were involved during construction too. So I start talking about my plans and my house, and asked you, please come look at it. I was thinking of selling it, but I wasn't sure that how we should pursue. So when I was ready, then I called you and I said, I'm ready. And then we met, and some changes, upgrades that we had to do. Yes,
right.
yes.
But I think it was interesting because the timing, the market had been relatively flat, especially for larger homes, and there had been a diminishing appreciation for a couple years because of the craziness of buying and what people were willing to pay. And so I remember when we sat down to talk about pricing, I was unsure that we were going to be able to get the value that you wanted at the time because there was nothing to compare it to.
Right.
That in a purchase process, as you know, we have to find appraisal, and we didn't think we were going to do that. But I think we did the right things inside your house. I mean, as far as painting inside and out, putting the fresh, making it look fresh. I remember one couple came in and said, oh my God, when did you finish the house?
Yes.
And I said, it's been here for 11 years. And they're going, it couldn't have been.
Yeah.
It was all because we made it look a little bit younger on the outside.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, absolutely, yes. With your help, we did really good job on that, and you're right. Of course, you know that we didn't have a big family, and house was pretty good shape. And then with that upgrade, it looked like a brand new home, and it was.
Well,
Yeah.
the one thing that everybody said about your house was the floor plan, because
Floor plan was
there's a
nice.
lot of crazy floor plans in this neighborhood,
Yes.
no doubt about it.
Yes.
But your house had a very open, especially with that staircase,
Yes.
you know, that wrapped around,
Yes.
and the beautiful chandelier that you put in
Yes.
was very captivating.
Yes.
And it was, I think it was the right time, you know, to do what we did.
You're right, and then we said, you know, if it doesn't go at the price that we expecting, but you're right, there was nothing to compare because market
Right.
was pretty flat. But it was, I think, it was a very successful project, and
That's
I
right.
thank you for
And
it.
you were ifing me, and I told you it's not about if,
Exactly.
Ismail,
Yes.
it's about when.
Yeah.
And then you started winning me back, and that's when
Yes.
it all happened. And I think
Yes.
that it was a little bit interesting because the buyers for your home they were about ready to have a baby, their
Yes.
second baby, and they had not been looking. They'd given up. They'd been in the neighborhood before, and I had actually met them when I was selling the house on Calvert. And I wasn't working with them or anything, and they, just as a whim, the husband looked on, they wanted this neighborhood very badly because of schools and whatnot, and he saw the virtual tour that we did, and he dragged his wife out and said, I think we have to see this house. And they fell in love with it immediately, and because of the detail that you put into it, and the flow and the functionality and whatnot. And so they were really lucky that we were able to get them, you know, into contract. But you had one of the most wonderful floor plans. People even talk about it today, about, oh, I remember when you were selling that house on Tuggle. That was such a great floor plan. Is there anything else like that? And I'm like,
Yes.
no, there's not. It was, you know, quite unique.
Yes, you're absolutely right. That floor plan was very nice, and even though we didn't during the design we didn't have too much time, and our architect did a really good job putting that floor plan, and it came out really nice. And I was very happy with the floor plan. Yes,
Right,
I was
and
like,
now the
"You're right."
market's changing a little bit again, and I know you've been talking back and forth about possibly taking one of the homes that you still have, that where you're living now, and tearing down and building again,
Yes.
which is quite, you know, an awesome project to take on. So how do you feel about the neighborhood? You've been here for a long time.
Right.
So how do you feel the tenor of the neighborhood is now and compared to those other times that you've seen construction going on?
We don't have, as you know, that many homes under construction as used to. I don't see that many, but I think that because of all this industry and the job situation here, like you said, the first home that we bought over there at Morengo Drive, you're right, I'm in the planning. We are in the stage of getting the drawings. Architect is working on the floor plans. It's not going as big as the previous house, as big as Toggle home, but it's going to be a smaller two-story home, maybe somewhere around 2,500 square foot. 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-story. So I think there's a big demand, as you know. I mean, these days is one thing I'm so happy about this the neighborhood, that even that downtime we didn't have much a problem, and still there's a demand, and because of school, because of the job situation, and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's a good neighborhood. I mean, you walk it frequently.
Oh, yes.
You ride your bike. There's all people are walking, you know, with their pets and their young kids, and walking people to school and everything like that. So it's certainly a solid neighborhood.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I remember I had the couple rented that Morengo house. They never turn off that time. They used to turn off the TV, and they never locked the door. Always door was open and TV on. Very safe and nice neighborhood. And like, as you know, my daughter used to go to school over there at next to my house, and she used to just walk over there, school, no problem. And like you said, daytime, nighttime, I bike or walk around. This is a great neighborhood. It's changing, but
Changing
yeah,
again, right?
yes, yes.
But it's been a really good place for you to be for the
Oh,
last 20 plus years, right?
Absolutely, yes,
Yeah.
yes, almost 20 plus years.
Yeah,
yes,
no,
yes.
that's great. That's great. Well, I thank you for your time today.
Thank
It's
you.
always good to speak to somebody who's been has great history of the neighborhood, and
Thank you.
that likes being where they are, and you know, certainly a great client and a good friend.
thank you, and hopefully we can do another successful project in this new home.
I look forward to it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Esmail.
Thank you.